Hi, welcome back to Straight Line Persuasion Module 7. And here we're going to delve much deeper into the art of prospecting. And you're going to learn now how to apply tonality, a specific tonality, to each individual question. And based on the tonality, you'll get the actual intelligence that you're looking for. You see, you're going to find very quickly here that as powerful it is to identify your own why in your own mind, you're going to learn how to identify your client's why, which is what drives him at the higher level. And that allows you, especially when it comes to those limiting buying beliefs, to take him to a place both emotionally and logically that will allow him to exceed that action threshold. Now, remember the art of prospecting here on this higher level. The most important thing is to write down, make up your own questions. I've given you sample scripts here with, most of the basic questions, but I want you to customize them precisely for your industry. And there are some that won't make sense for you. If you might be a stockbroker or an insurance salesperson, or maybe you're just an internet marketer. Whatever you are here, make sure that you identify what questions work for you and then apply a specific tonality to each question. The important ones, remember, that you care and that you're just like him. If you get those two things across as you're asking those questions, you will develop honest feedback, a dialogue that's honest, and will allow the person to open up because he knows that you're not just looking to sell him something, but you're helping him accomplish his goals, to identify his needs and help him get to that place quickly and elegantly. So again, as you watch this, take your notes and remember that everything you do at this point in time in prospecting, you're actually still closing. ABC, always be closing. We all know that acronym, and it's pretty funny sometimes, but in truth, it's exactly what you're doing. From that first moment you pick up that telephone, remember, enthusiastic, sharp as a tack, expert in your field, you're setting yourself up for a close. You're closing him at that moment to listen to you further. So now as you delve deeper into prospecting with specific questions that are targeted to gather intelligence and to identify needs, again, you're closing him on giving you that information. ABC, always be closing. And eventually, with these step-by-step strategies, as you go down the line, you'll actually be really closing the sale. But it starts here. So focus, watch closely, take your notes, and tomorrow you're going to use this stuff in your own life. See you soon. So what I want to do today is this. I want to start off, and I want to start with prospecting. I want to start going through questions. And this is some stuff, it's not as exciting as the straight line itself, but this is the first part of the straight line, okay? And you need to master the art of asking questions, okay? Now, there are two parts of this, okay? There's two parts. The first part of it is the actual questions itself, okay? You have the questions, right? And that's the words on the page. Now, we all know from yesterday it's only a small part of it, right? Because what also equally important is how you ask the question. The tonality you use is going to make a huge difference, okay? Let's start with the questions themselves, okay? Finding out your client's why. Do not skip over the fact of what is actually motivating your client to want to make a purchase. Now, don't say, why do you want to buy this? That's not what you say. That's not elegant enough. I'm going to show you a series of questions. You're going to find out his why on both a logical and an emotional level. You need to identify his logical and his emotional why. This is crucial. Okay? You're going to write down perfect questions for your industry. Your people, whatever. If you're a sales manager, you're going to write down the perfect questions for your specific industry, and I'm giving you tons of samples to pull from. I'm giving you all the samples. You're getting everything, okay? And memorize them. If you're on the phone, you have the script in front of you. Know your questions. Do not miss them. They're in a specific sequence for a reason. You're going to learn to go from the general to the specific. You get that? So you're going to ask the questions in a specific order. Okay? Last, you're going to ask for permission to ask questions. You don't just interrogate somebody. You know, the guy says, hey, you have 60 seconds. I would like to share news. You got a minute? Blah, blah, blah. He says, yeah, great. You say, blah, 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 you know, this makes sense. He says, yeah, great. Just a couple of quick questions so I won't waste your time. Right? That's a transition. Just a couple of quick questions so I don't waste your time. Tonality. Don't just start asking him questions. This is huge. This is a transition. The transition, okay, is going to be twofold. Okay? You have two options for it. First, just a couple of quick questions so I don't waste your time. This is the assumptive one, which means you're not even going to ask, you're not going to wait for him to say okay or not okay. And most of the time, that's fine. But it's not just a couple of quick questions so I don't waste your time. It's just a couple of quick questions so I don't waste your time. Like, I'm here to help. The unspoken words in your tonality are, I'm here to help. Well, just for information, no big deal. The other one, okay, just a couple of quick questions so I can better serve you. It's a little softer. And if you add on, is that okay? It's probably not a good idea. Because it shows that you lack authority. Right? Let's write down the 3 cornerstones. Everything that we do when we're asking these questions, we're going to be looking to accomplish 3 things. What are they?
Sharp as attack.
Sharp as attack. What else? Enthusiastic. What's the third?
Force to be reckoned.
Force to be reckoned with. Force to be reckoned with, meaning an expert. An authority figure, right? So we're going to always be congruent with these 3 things. And implicit in our tonality also, whenever we can, is going to be, I care, I'm trustworthy, I have your best interest at heart, whenever you can put those things in there with tonality, you're going to, and we'll see as we go through the questions, okay? Okay? Start with big picture questions. Here they are, ready? First, okay? Now, if you're dealing, this typically has to do when you're dealing with a product that they've used before. Okay? It's very important if you're selling, let's say you're selling somebody a product and they're currently using a product or used it in the past. Find out what they liked about that product and what they did not like about that product. Because later on, in the second half of the straight line, you're going to be using their likes and dislikes to mold your presentation, to knock out negatives and bring up positives. Understand this, people will always pay more for something that's customized. You get it? They pay more for customization. People love products that are just for them. Very important question to find out what they liked or didn't like about something. Next question, okay? Okay, what would you change or improve with your current source? Now, again, this wouldn't, for someone that's doing loan mod or credit repair, not going to really apply so much, this question. So again, you're going to choose the ones that suit your industry. But these are all the big picture questions, okay? Next. What's your biggest headache with? Here you're going to find out what his real, what his emotional, where his pain is, right? And you're going to use that later again. Next. What's your ultimate objective? What are you trying to do? This is crucial in any business. If you're selling somebody credit repair or a loan or whatever it might be, subscriptions, whatever it might be, doesn't matter, okay? You want to know what they're looking to accomplish here. Those 3 things, sharp as attack, enthusiastic as hell, a force to be reckoned with, it all rolls up into one thing, that you are a person that can do what? Who can do what? Help them achieve their goals. Right? Well, how can you do it if you don't know what their goal is? You need to know exactly what their objective, what their outcome they're looking for is. Once you know their outcome, you can become this guy. Okay? Now, what you've told the guy before this point, what you've said to him by your tonality is that you're that guy. But you can't become that guy unless you know exactly what the guy is looking to accomplish, what his desired outcome is. And then you'll see later, as we start going through looping, when you're closing and looking to build into a 10, 10, 10, you're going to be putting in those bullets that specifically apply. Remember I said yesterday, you're going to start tailoring it down as you go further down the line. You have specific bullets that fit that. So you're just for him. You're there to help him. Okay? Next. Okay? What would be your ideal program? Crucial. And again, these big picture questions, they're specifically broad. You need to tailor these down to your industry. But you get in the picture on what's going on? This is how you gather intelligence. Now I'm going to show you some other questions that are very specific. Okay, next. Of all the factors, what's most important to you? Guys told you the whole story. What's the most important, number one thing you're looking to accomplish? Next. Okay, have I asked about every detail that's important to you? Now, I specifically never ask that question. I do not. It's up there because I want to give you everything that I know. Okay, everything that's out there. Some people like that. There are some successful salespeople. I don't like that question. Okay? But it's there. Okay, if you're in a specific industry or a specific sale that might go on longer, it's a decent question. For a quicker sale, 1-2 punch, it's not a great question. Okay? Okay? Now here's the goal here. Keeping your powder dry. What you have to do, okay, is once, as he's saying and relating his problem, what is making him feel out of control? What he has a goal. He's out of control right now, right? The urge you have is like, oh my God, I got the solution for that. Oh my God, I got the solution. Stop. Let him speak. Don't say, oh my God, my program's perfect for that. He says to you, well, you know, my president, oh geez, I can really help you out here. Big mistake. Do not allow the guy to have the benefit of your program yet. Do not tip your hand. Let him speak. It's your own insecurities, and it gets all of us. We all have it. I get it too on the phone. I just know to shut up. Don't start narrating his answers. Oh, it can really help you out on that one. Oh, great. Oh, we always know people like you. That comes later when he's ready to buy. What do you think? He's going to buy because you said that? No. All it's going to do is make him feel a little bit more relaxed, or this guy's so full of crap. You don't want the guy to feel so relaxed yet right now. You want him to really kind of feel his pain a little bit. Now, when I say feel his pain, okay, you know, there's two ways to do that. I'm not a big believer in, you know, make him feel so much pain to his action. Some of you weren't here. Like, there's two new faces here. I just want to explain something real quick. It's really important, okay? Is business with the action threshold, right? The action threshold, okay? What this is the point that he actually needs to get to buy. It's this point, and if he gets there and feels enough either pain or motivation, positive or negative, right? Either he's so pumped up and he loves it so much, he gets to this point and he buys, right? If he's below the action threshold, he will not buy. If he's above it, he's a buyer, right? The action threshold is made up of a couple of different things, okay? And one of them is his beliefs about buying. You can't crack someone's beliefs about buying while you're qualifying them. You just can't. You don't want to. It's not the right time yet. There's other things that need to be established, like number one, that your product is the best one on the market, that you're the best too, you're the best person for him, your company's ethical. This comes last. This comes last. What you're doing right now is identifying, write this down, identifying his emotional wants and his physical needs. That's what you're doing right now. That's all this is about. And you're developing massive rapport. And as I go through the questions, I'm going to give you specific questions next, and I'm going to show you exactly how you do it with tonality. So now let's move forward here, okay? So please don't, if you're a sales manager, don't let your people narrate while they're qualifying about how great your product is. It makes you look disingenuous, and it also doesn't do anything for you, okay? If it's you or the salesperson, just bite your lip and listen. 2 ears, 1 mouth. You should listen twice as much as you speak, especially in the beginning, okay? You'll have your chance to speak. And when you speak, every word will be directed, okay? But just not random words that come out of your mouth. Everything's measured, okay? Okay, let's see. Okay, now, while we're qualifying, rapport will be developed with tonality and body language, right? Okay? You start asking invasive questions. Now we get specific, right? Let's get to specific questions, okay? Okay? Each question has its own tonality, okay? This is the first one. We were dealing with a trading system yesterday, right? So if this is the question here, right? How do you think about trading, right? There's a couple of different ways to ask that question, right? The first way would be, how long are you thinking about trading for? That's one way. The second way is, how long are you thinking about trading? Now, I'm telling you this right now. I'm going to call, as soon as the script's getting, I'm going to call someone on stage, and I'm going to show you the dramatic difference in emotion it creates. You'll see it, because I will do the test, and you'll be the judges of it. You will see that if you ask the question one way versus another way, the person's either in rapport with you or out of rapport with you. And we'll start giving you accurate answers, or just simply blow you off. Okay? So that's the first question, okay? Would be, how long have you been thinking about trading? Now, the equivalent would be, if you're in credit repair or loan mod, how long have you been thinking about getting your credit fixed for? Why do you want to know that? It's a pretty important question. How long do they want to? Because you're going to say, well, are they warm? Oh, I've been thinking about, not really, I don't know, I've been thinking about too long, really. Maybe a couple of weeks, so they get their picture where they are. Oh, it's been on my mind for say, I want to buy a house. I was like, well, I wanted to buy a house and this and that. Now watch, here's the straight line, okay? Right here. And remember, we can go, we have rapport and intelligence here, right? We do not want them going above and below these dotted lines. That's your safe zone where you're gathering rapport. So when you ask a question like that, you're hoping he's going to start telling you about his life. And you're going to listen. And don't interrupt him. Do not start narrating. Oh, it's only that. Oh, yeah, great. Wow, interesting. Let him talk. Let the prospect talk. Most people don't ever get to be heard. They work for other people. They're disempowered. Their wife doesn't listen. Their husband doesn't listen. They want, listen to them. They'll talk to you. Now, if he starts spiraling off into Pluto, and it goes from telling you about meaningful things in his life that got him into a situation versus now his son's in school and how his son's getting A's and B's and he's going to go to then you know you're off the line. Okay? So what are you going to do? When you're off one, you're going to stop him and you're elegantly, you're going to direct him back to the line using tonality to carry the moment. So again, this specific question in your industry can elicit a ton of information. How long are you thinking about buying a Porsche for? How long are you thinking about buying this piece of equipment for? Whatever it might be. How long do you want to get into the trading business? How long are you thinking about becoming, a stockbroker? Whatever it's going to be, right? Next question, okay? Okay, let's do this. I'll jump ahead for just 1 second here. Now, we're going to do this when two people are on stage. What happens is this. When you're asking questions to people, all right? Now, I know you're on the phone. They're far away. You have to use your body. Move your body in a way that creates the right tonality for the question. If you're having trouble creating a specific tonality, what you're going to find is if you move your body a certain way, either you narrow your eyes, okay, drop your head, okay, tap your hand like this, okay, sit down and crouch forward. When I'm on the phone pitching, typically if I'm trying to close somebody, I am sitting down. This is me, just me, okay? I'm sitting down, leaned over with my weight forward, almost jumping out of my chair. I'm not really, my weight's not in the chair. My elbows were on the desk. I'm leaning, I'm looking at my script. Now, I wrote the script. I'm looking at the script still, just for a guide, okay? And I'm here, and I'm forward, I'm like this, and I'm banging my hand with certainty. That's me. Some people will pace around. They'll pace around like this. They'll start walking back and forth, and they'll say, right, a lot of people do that. No, none is right, and none is wrong. It's whatever works for you. So what we're going to do later, after we do these questions, we're going to do an exercise. You're going to find your gestures. Because you need to set anchors, well, setting anchors for your gestures. I want you to know that when you need to trigger a specific tonality, you can do it with your body. Very, very powerful. As you're asking questions to people, remember, the most important thing when you're asking questions is that they have to know that you care. So when it starts to get to money questions, to specific questions like, how much money do you have in the stock market? Or, how much do you owe on your mortgage right now? How far are you behind on your credit cards? Whatever the questions are, okay? It can't be, how far are you behind on your credit cards right now? What do you have in the market? Like the Grand Inquisitor. You get that? That tonality is death when you're qualifying people. It's absolute death. You lose it right there, and you're done. I've seen more salespeople lose sales at this point here of the script, right? When they're asking questions and they're out of rapport, okay? If you're saying to somebody, how much you have in the market. It's like, how much you have in the market? Just a ballpark. Just a ballpark. Everything, just a ballpark. Minimize it. Don't ask somebody a question like you're the Grand Inquisitor, because they will destroy you, these questions, okay? This is a crucial part of the sale, okay? So now, let's move forward for a second. So you ask these questions, okay, and you get to the point where you're done qualifying, and hopefully this guy qualifies. Two things. A, write this down. The product is right for him. Number one. Number two, he can afford it. If the guy or girl cannot afford your product, do not pitch him. The biggest mistake of a salesperson is to pitch unqualified people. A, huge waste of time, and B, you get bad intelligence on how you're performing. You'll pitch 10 people without money, and you'll say, I can't sell. I'll tell you a story. I went to the United Kingdom on a speaking tour, right? And I'm a good closer. I close. When I go to I close people. I went to the United Kingdom, and I got into a couple of different rooms, and I couldn't close a door. I couldn't sell one person in the room. I found out after the fact that they were all unemployed. And no one had money. It was a promoter, was an idiot, okay? He put people in a room, it was free. I never do free speeches ever. I learned the lesson. But I sat there for that was a blip of 4 days, and I'm scratching. I'm going through my pitch. What's wrong with my pitch? I don't get this. I'm looking, my offer not good enough? Am I not giving enough values? My close weak? They didn't have money. So I'm banging my head against the wall. You get it? Qualify your people. Make sure your people that work for you too. Qualify people out in the beginning that do not have money. Do not try to take non-buyers and make them into buyers. Huge mistake, okay? Also, that the product is right for them, okay? Please, 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 the ethics of it all. Do not go banging people over the head to sell them your product just for the sake of selling them your product. Using the straight line. And you could do that. When you get into these loops, and we'll do this in a couple hours, the loops, people are going to buy from you whether they need it or not. Because you could convince them for a moment, but you'll burn in hell afterwards. So again, these two things you don't go forward. But once you get to the point where you're done qualifying, okay, here's your transition. Your transition is write this down. Well, based on everything you just told me, this program is a perfect fit for you. That's your transition. Based on everything you just told me, the program is a perfect fit for you. Where are you on the line? You're here, right? About right there. Now, here's the beauty of the system, the straight line. Watch. All this stuff happens, right? You're going to make 100 calls, and you're going to have 100 conversations that'll be different. But every single time, you're going to end up at the same spot, which is right here, saying the same words. Well, based on everything you just told me, the program seems like a perfect fit for you. You always end up in the same spot. So this is an anchor for you. In other words, your anchor point is when you say the first word is, hi, is John there? That's anchor number one. Okay? Anchor number two is right here. Well, based on everything you just said, it seems like a perfect fit for you. And that's your transition into your presentation. Now, will you say that if it's not true? If it's not a perfect, will you say that? No, right? You're going to eliminate the guy right there. You're not going to pitch a guy and bang him over the head. So I don't want this to be like, it's generically unethical where, based on everything, even though you're a grandma, 85 years old, it still makes perfect sense for you. That's not what I mean. What I mean is you're going to get the people who it makes sense for, and that is your line. It's the same way every single time. You have all these questions that were asked with this precise tonality, okay? And you get to this point right here, bam, and you're perfectly on the line. Doesn't matter what happened up to this point. Other than that, you gathered your intelligence and you have your rapport, okay? Now you go into your main body of your presentation, okay, which is going to be short, no more than a page, and I have it written out for you. And I made the presentation in a way that you can put your own stuff in there. It's like a modelable, okay? So what you're going to do here is you're going to go into your presentation, right? You're going to ask for your first order right about here, first time. And at this point, what are you waiting for here? What are you waiting for? When you're asking for the order, you say, believe me, you'll be very impressed. Sound fair enough? What are you looking for here? You're looking for the guy to say no. We expect no. This is your next anchor here, right at this point. Your first no. You ever watch Law and Order? You know, like one of these TV Boston Legal. You know, they have this, and it's funny because they have this thing they do is like they'll be on trial, right? And the lawyers are, in their chairs, and the witness is on the stand, their witness, right? And all of a sudden the DA will come up with some killer piece of information, and the witness gets stumped, right? And the lawyers go, ah. And they just shake their head, and the jury looks over at the lawyers and say, oh, we know it all along, and the lawyers gave away, right? They dropped their guard, they showed their face, and said, and keep a poker face, right? That's the exact opposite of what you do as a salesperson. You never, ever do the Law and Order head drop. Oh, my God. The guy said no. You get it? Whatever he says is exactly what was expected. It's always the expected response, okay? So when he says no, you perk up. You're expecting it. Okay? This is the key right here. Major anchor. The first no. From that point, you're going to run your first pattern. And this is going to be the pattern to establish this. Number one, that the product is the best thing since sliced bread. We'll get to this in a second. I'm just going to give you a quick run through the line. Okay? So what you're going to say to the guys, you gave him this presentation, right? And he says, let me think about it. So do you say to him, well, why do you want to think about it? That's answering his objection directly, right? You do not want to do that. We're going to engage in a process called deflection. You're going to deflect his objection. In other words, put it off to the side. It's unimportant. It's not even a real objection. If he says, I don't have any money, it's a different story. He says, I only think about it, I'm talking about my wife, whatever. Deflect it, okay? You're going to handle that objection, but you're going to handle it on your timing. Not when he wants it, when you want it, okay? So you're going to deflect no matter what he says here. No matter what he says, I don't care if he talks about the price of tea in China. Your first question is going to be, I hear what you're saying. Not I understand what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. But let me ask you a question. Does the idea make sense to you? Do you like the idea? That's pattern number one you're going to run. Doesn't matter what happens. Because I am telling you this for sure. He's not at a 10 in terms of his love of your product. He's just not. You didn't try to even get him there. Your pitch is not designed, your presentation, and I'll get to the presentation in a second. It wasn't designed to get him there. You're just getting him in the game, showing him some benefits so he gets up there, likes it, and seems good, right? Does the idea make sense to you? Do you like the idea? Now, you're not going to say, we went through this yesterday, money aside, does the idea make sense to you? No. You don't say that. But implicit in your tonality is that money is aside. You're like, well, let me ask you a question. Does the idea make sense to you? Do you like the idea? Like, no big deal. Money aside. That's your first question. Do you see you're starting to see the concept of the line here, that it doesn't matter what happens. Every sale is exactly the same. That's the power of somebody that's not a top salesman. They can use every sales identical. You'll get to all their objections, but on your time frame. And they're going to love you for it because they're not going to think you're deflecting. They're going to be in the game with you because you're in rapport. Okay? You'll get to the I don't want to think about it, but not yet. Because that is going to evaporate when you run the pattern. I want to think about it will disappear. It'll become something else. I want to do something else. I have all the objections. We'll go through those, right? So you run the first pattern, okay? And you say, does the idea make sense? Do you like the idea? He goes, yeah, it sounds good. Is that good enough? Yes or no? Not in the least. Someone says, yeah, if you say something, does the idea make sense? Do you like the idea? 90% of the time, I say, yeah, it sounds good. So the sales says, great. Now, if I've been doing business with you for you cannot move forward on the line. Watch. Every time you move forward, there's 3 ways for it to go. The guy could say an enthusiastic yes, which brings you forward on the line, right? An enthusiastic answer. Yeah, great, absolutely. Let me ask you a question. Do you like the idea? Oh my God, yeah, it's the greatest thing ever. I'll move forward. I'll say, exactly, it really is an amazing program. Move forward. But that happens like maybe 8 to 10% of the time, where someone will be that enthusiastic about your product on the first go-round. If that's the case, he's done a lot of research and he knows that it's far and few between, okay? Mostly, they'll say, yeah, it sounds good. I'll say exactly. And let me say this, and this is the key words here. The true beauty of the program, this is your power words. The true beauty of the program, that's the beginning of almost every loop. And the reason it's called a loop is watch what happens. You already made a presentation, right? Now you're past that. You ask for the order. He says, let me think about it. What do? Do you go slam forward and try to close him? No. You're going to loop back around to resell him the idea. First, you loop backwards. Do not go forward. If you want to sound like a pushy salesman, let him object, answer his objection, and ask for the order again. Just answer. If you answer his objection directly, you seem pushy. And it's no, it doesn't matter. If he has an objection, you're just like, I know you want to think about it, but thinking about it's not really good. There's only, real estate is location, location, location. In this business, there's timing, timing, and timing. So do it right now. Come on, believe me, you won't be sorry. You're a freaking idiot. You're like you're awful as a salesperson for doing that. And not, said well, if you walk into a room of untrained salespeople, they'll be doing that, and so they'll say, wow, that guy's a good salesman. He's the worst, that guy. That's not how it works. What happens is you have to loop back first and now resell your product in a much more effective manner. Your secondary script is going to be the one that's much more powerful than your first script. Because remember, you're keeping your powder dry. It's just going to take a certain amount of time for you to wear down this person's beliefs about buying. It's going to take you a certain amount of time to pick the combination lock. You can't pick it all at once. Okay? So you keep your powder dry. You now put in some much more powerful benefits. So your secondary pitch is more bullet-oriented. One very powerful fact. And when you get to that, you say, you see what I'm saying? Does the idea make sense? Say, oh, no, yeah, great, I like it, it's great. The second go-around, they'll go up on you. They'll say, yeah. If they were saying, yeah, it's pretty good, they'll say, no, it's great, yeah, I really like it. Now they're probably at an 8 or a 9, maybe at a 10 if you did a good job, depending on how hot they were. Now you can move forward and continue the loop. So that's your first loop, right? Then you would move forward and you would ask him another question. That's going to start cutting through his buying beliefs about you. And I'll stop here right now. We're going to pick this up after. So I want to do the questions now. Let's go through the questions that you're going to ask. And I want to show you the precise tonalities that you're going to ask these questions in. Okay? And let's pretend right now that we're selling a trading seminar. First question is going to be, okay, now how long have you actually been thinking about becoming a trader? Okay? So start off here and say, okay, great. Just a couple of quick questions so I don't waste your time. Let's hear.
Okay, great. Just a couple of quick questions so I don't waste your time.
Okay. Go.
Now, how long have you actually been thinking about becoming a trader?
About 2 or 3 years.
Excellent. And are you looking to trade part-time or full-time?
Could trade maybe 3-4 hours a week or something.
Okay, excellent. And where are we? Okay. And what kind of work are you doing now? And how's it going for you?
Okay, that's a two-part question. First, you'd say, hey, what kind of work are you doing now? Let him speak a bit. Say, how's it going? Once you start speaking, to prompt him more. Start from the top, and what kind of work are you doing now?
And what kind of work are you doing now?
Okay. I'm just working in a factory and stuff like that. I work about 40 hours a week.
And how's that going for you?
It's well, I'll tell you, it's pretty good, but I have weekends off, and then typically on the weekends, I try to get away with my family. I don't have that much free time. And for the most part, though, we usually go and, we go up to northern England on the weekends. And, but I think I wanted to become a trader because I like hunting up there, and I think it would give me the freedom to do that. And, last weekend I was there, I remember I had to come because, I'm short of money right now, and I had to go up there and just kind of only hunt half the weekend with my kid. And my kid loves to hunt, so I figured being, a trader would be just a great thing for me because it would allow me to spend more time up there on the weekends. And, you do any hunting?
Yeah, no, I don't actually do hunting, but that's really cool that you do. Hunting's a blast, I'm sure. So are you looking at trading as a way to simply...
Okay, stop. I did it on purpose. I rambled off the line, right? Let me explain a couple of things here, okay? Number one, okay, is a couple of very important words. Now, don't take this the wrong... remember, ethics, right? We have to have our ethics. But I want you to remember, drill these words into your brain. I am just like who? You. I am just like you. You just told the guy, you might as well tell the guy you hate hunters, right? Yeah, I got my just gut. I know it's up on stage, but I'm glad you're doing well, right? I'm glad that it came out, though. But to me, the guy says, I was up hunting. I said, do you hunt? You're like, no, I don't, sorry. Anyway, you completely broke rapport. You completely broke rapport. You were trying to do the right thing to get me back to the line, but that was not elegant. What that was, I'm a salesman, I don't care about your life. You get it?
Yep.
Okay? And that's a huge error right there. You're out of rapport. You probably reduced your chances of a close by 50%. With that one mistake, 50% you've reduced your chances to close. Because the guy doesn't want to, listen, we join clubs. We join political parties. We go to churches and temples, whatever it might be, to be with people that are like us. We don't associate based on our differences. We associate based on commonalities. Hey, he's my best friend. He's nothing like me. That's bullshit. Don't think, I'm look for a woman who's going to be your opposite. No, that's a load of crap. You want, so you can be an opposite, you want to be with someone who's like you. So I met this guy. He's rude. He's obnoxious. He's nothing like me. I want to be his best friend. No, we associate based on commonalities. We join religious organizations, go to country clubs, political clubs like, the Rotary Club. It's based on what we have in common. We want to be around people who we have things in common with. That's it. When someone says to you they're a hunter, I don't want you to stretch the truth, but let's say, have you ever been hunting? I'm sure you have, right?
No.
Never in your whole life. Okay, great. He's one. Fair enough. Okay? Fabulous. Great. Here's the response. You better. My God, I've never been hunting. I would love to go hunting one day. I'm sure it's unbelievable. Get it? It's all you had to say. Oh my God, that sounds amazing. It must be beautiful up there. Yeah, okay, great. Now, see, it's elegance. When I say interrupt him, you cannot bat him and go back to the line. That's a disaster. That's why it's so powerful to go through a script like this, And this is such a, again, okay, watch. Very simple. If this is the straight line, okay, and this is your acceptable levels where you let the guy ramble on, right? And he starts to go up here, and I went off to the countryside. You let me speak. I spiraled, right? It can't just be, I'm interested in hunting. I go down to the line. You're done, okay? What it's going to be is sort of the zone here. You're like, oh, wow, my God, I'm just like you. Or even better now, I wish I could be just like you. Wow, lucky you to have that. Man, amazing. Woo, great. Now, you can't say it. Ooh, great. Ooh, boy, you're an idiot. But your tonality says it. Because I would say, wow, that's amazing. I've never been hunting. I'd love to go hunting. I have tons of friends that are hunters. It's totally cool. Anyway, now, boom. Apples and oranges in how you close a sale. You're in complete rapport with this guy. He's like, oh, wow, what a nice guy. He's like, you're interested in my life. You get it? Mm-hmm. Everyone get that? Okay. Never fall out of rapport with a question. Let's go to the next question.
So are you looking at trading as a way to simply supplement your current income, or is it something that you're transitioning to full-time after you start making tons of money with it?
Okay. Decent. Now, I want you to notice something here, okay? Look at the words here. After you start making tons of money with it, right? Okay? That's called a future pace. Just put an underline there. When you're writing your presentations for yourselves and your companies, right? In your script, you want to always have these things once you start making money. After you start making money, like the rest of my clients, all these future paces in there, okay? So what I want you to do here now, okay, is I want you to get a little bit more elegant. So you're looking at trade as a way to simply supplement your income? Or is it something you'll transition into full-time after you start making money with it? In other words, it has to be, the future pace has to be said in a way. It can't be once you start making money with it. It's like once you start making money with it, like the rest of my clients have. And you can't say the rest of my clients have. A, because it's probably not true. You're not going to lie on the telephone. But by your tonality, when you say this line, you want to trigger the emotion, okay? Like it's a virtual guarantee without ever saying it's if it's a guarantee, if what you're selling is a guarantee to it, then say it. But if it's not, don't say it, okay? So try it again, okay?
So are you looking at trading as a way to simply supplement your current income? Or is it something that you'll transition to full time after you start making money with it?
Well, you know, I want you to do it full time, part time.
Are you currently invested in the market right now?
Stop. Important point here, okay? Remember, now I know this is a little bit awkward right now, but remember I said in the beginning that I was looking to trade 4 hours a day? Okay, right? So I answered this question already. So very often you have these questions and you're going to find that sometimes the guy is, when he's offering up the information, giving you the intelligence that you need, what's happening is you're going to be able to jump ahead to some of the questions and they're answered. So make sure now when, again, this is the first time you're ever looking at this, all right? But know your questions well enough that you can tailor them so you're not sounding like a fool. Because what I would say is, I just told you I'm looking to trade 3-4 hours a week, right? So that's what I would say if I was on the phone. It would seem something is very odd. They go, oh, I get it. The guy's reading from a script. That's what it would sound like, okay? You have to master the art of reading from a script without sounding like you're reading from a script. Without sounding like you're reading from a script. If you're reading from the script, you're done. They will not buy from you, okay? So, let's go here. Now, are you currently invested in the market right now? Any stocks, bonds, mutual funds? Go, let's hear it.
Are you currently invested in the market right now? Any stocks, bonds, mutual funds?
Okay, good. It's good tonality by there, because what he's doing is he's making it a no big deal. Just for informational purposes. You currently invested in the market right now? Any stocks, bonds, mutual funds? No. Are you in the market right now? Any stocks, bonds, mutual funds? That would be the wrong tonality. You get it? This has got to be it's very important at this point that when you're asking him money questions, qualifying someone for money, you have a very much of a no big deal tone. Okay? Now let's switch to you. Big Dino. All right? Let's start with, okay, are you currently invested in the market right now? Let's hear it.
Are you currently invested in the market right now? Any stocks, bonds, or mutual funds?
Yeah, I got a few. I got maybe $4,000 or $5,000 in the market, a couple of different stocks.
That's awesome. Just for suitability purposes, how would you say your current financial situation is right now?
Okay, now here's the problem. Here's the thing is that he said just for suitability purposes, how would you say your picture is right now? That's the tone of the inquisitor, okay? The better tonality is this, right? And just for suitability purposes, what did I just do? What did you see me do? I pushed my hands out. I do it automatically as an anchor for myself, okay? When you ask, this is the most invasive question you can ask somebody, how much money you got? You get this one? You ask this one the wrong way, you're out of rapport. You are out of rapport. Then you got to get back into rapport. When you ask a question like this, it's, just for suitability. I hate to have to ask you this. It's just for suitability purposes. No big deal. You know, how would you say your current financial situation is right now? I hate to ask you. Now, you're not going to say, I hate to ask you. You're like, just for suitability purposes, because I'm a nice guy, and I would never do anything that's unsuitable for you. That's the psychology that's going on right here. You must ask this question with the hands out, just for suitability purposes. Now, that's for me. Hey, it could be a different gesture for you, okay? So try it again now. Just for suitability purposes.
Now, just for suitability purposes, how would you say your current financial situation is right now?
Okay, keep going.
Are you in good shape now, or are you struggling a bit?
Okay. Try to be a little bit more empathetic here. Watch the tone. Ready? Say what sounds better, everybody. Right? Watch. Okay, ready? Okay. Just for suitability purposes, you know, how would you say your current financial picture is right now? You in good shape or are you struggling a bit? Now, stop. Before you even go, when I said struggling a bit, what happened to what did you hear in my tone? A little empathy, right? I said you're struggling a bit. Not like you're struggling a bit, huh? You know, you're in good shape right now or you're struggling a bit? And look at my face. My face I make my face look sadder. Are you struggling a bit? I'm pretending they're in front of me. If someone was in front of you, are you struggling a bit, huh? If they were face to face, would you smile? What would you say? What would you do? Show me what would you say if you're struggling? How would you do it? Show me. In front of me. If you tell me you're struggling a bit, how would you do it?
Are you struggling a bit?
You see the face? Okay. Before on the phone, you were like, are you struggling a bit? You didn't have the face because your face was not the right, your physiology was incorrect. You didn't create the correct tone out of it. They can see you despite the fact that you're on the phone. They have a mental image of you that they get from your tonality and they're matching it. Listen, the brain is so powerful. They've seen 100 people ask questions or say things like that before, and they match up a tonality to what they've seen before. They create a pattern. They generalize. So if Dino's tone is wrong, they see a snickering guy. You know, if you say the wrong thing, they say, he doesn't feel bad for me. He doesn't what? Bingo. Huge thing. I care. In fact, this deserves its own sheet here. So far, in the last few seconds, we've seen two things that are hugely important. Number one, I am just like who? You. And I care. You say I can't write English? It's the craziest thing. I care. I can't, I'll say it again. I cannot overestimate the importance of establishing these two things while you're qualifying. They're going to make your job infinitely easier when you try to close this person in 3 more minutes. The effort you put into this part of your presentation, this precise tonality, so they get to understand you are not just sharp as a tack, enthusiastic as hell, and a force to be reckoned with. They want that guy or girl to be their guide, their mentor. They want that. But what they also want is to have somebody who's just like them and somebody who gives a shit. It's not just there to sell them something. Get it? I'm going to spend like an hour on this. This is just, you don't get this. This is it. I'm giving you the formula right now, right here. The looping is easy. It's mechanics. I'm going to show you the looping. 2 hours, you'll get 3 patterns, no big deal. This is the elegance. This is what creates a great salesperson. This creates someone that gets tons of referrals. I'm just like you, and I care, and I'm an expert. And I'm trustworthy. Get it? Qualifying is one thing, and this qualifying, which is another thing. First day now, let's flash back. I showed you that chart. You see why I say the chart's ridiculous? Part of it's about rapport, part of it's identifying needs. What the hell is that? As you're identifying needs, you're developing rapport. There's no difference. When you're asking for, when he says no for the first time, you're still building rapport. You're still building rapport every step of the way, and you're still identifying needs as you're closing. There is no division. You're doing everything at every moment, you're identifying needs, developing rapport, and closing Every word that you say, all designed to get you to that one point. Doesn't matter. And these things here, this is where it's at. It's not in the hard-charging guy that you see on the phone pacing back and forth on TV. That's a load of crap. The salesperson is the ultimate wolf in sheep's clothing, but with ethics. So there's nothing wrong with it. Not a wolf in sheep's clothing in a bad way, okay, which I once was, but the right way. You come in there, you know you have the power. You got the power. You got the straight line. You're a master of tonality. You're a master of structure. You can loop and loop and loop until you pick the lock. You got it all. But you're unique as you freaking care. You're the enthusiasm, bottled enthusiasm. It's here, right? It's not here and here and here. That loses its power really, really quickly with somebody. You might get some buyers that are like if they're just like you might get that buyer. You're going to cut out a whole element of emotional buyers that more than anything want to be understood, they want to be cared about, and they want to do business when they like. Imagine this is a pie chart. There's 100 buyers, right? And you're a great closer, but you lack the ability to create a certain emotion in a certain group of people. You lack one skill. So all that means is you're going to close a few less people. Your percentage goes down. That's the way it is. There's a reason why some people close at the highest level. It's because they don't lack the skill sets. It's skill. It's skill. It's not accident. And the greatest skill of all is what? Hard work. Number of calls you make. But when it gets past that point, it's all about these nuances, the fine ones. And these two, I'm sticking on it for all. These two, when you're qualifying, and even when he's objecting, everything will always say, even when you're at odds with the guy, right? When I said, as I said yesterday, we'll go through this again later, I said, tell me you don't like my product, and I will respectfully argue with you why you're wrong. I'll educate you why you're wrong, right? While I'm educating you, I'm also going to be telling you these two things. They're not mutually exclusive. You never buck heads with somebody on the phone or in person trying to tell them they're wrong and you're right. It's not about that. You educate. Why? Because you care. And you know your product is the best and you know it's in their best interest. And that's when this tonality, we'll go through a different tonality later, where you're as smooth as silk and say, sir, please don't misconstrue my enthusiasm for pressure. It's a great line. It's the last thing I want to do. But let me say this. The true beauty of the program, and you're back in. You have all these loops, the true beauty of the program. You'll loop back in all the time, okay? And you're going to tailor it so you're just like him, okay? So now let's go back here. Everyone get that? That whole concept? Okay, so let's go now. And just for suitability purposes.
And just for suitability purposes, how would you say your current financial situation is right now? Are you in good shape or possibly struggling a little bit?
Much better. Excellent. Give me a round of applause. That was great. Well, things have been better. It's been a tough couple of years. I'm doing okay. Paying the bills.
Jordan.
Stop. Okay. Now, every time, listen to me, when he says something which you didn't, you have to respond back to me. Okay? You have to mirror me. Okay? So I said to you, I'm paying the bills. Okay? Here is a time when matching and mirroring is crucial, okay? You talk about pacing and leading, right? Matching and mirroring, okay? I say to you, okay, how about this? 3 responses to this question. Let's go through the 3 responses. And this is going to go for all questions. So let's go through 3 responses. The question is, okay, are you struggling right now or do you have money, right? There's 3 things he could say. I'm doing great. Things are great. Things are so-so, okay, right? So-so. Or things suck. So, based on the response he gives us, what do we give him back? Well, we got to mirror him back. If he says things really suck, okay, great, perfect, a victim now. You're not going to come back. And as silly as that sounds, by the way, salespeople do it all the time. Because they're locked in, okay, great. They think, okay, great. Like a robot, okay, great, okay, great. There's all these okay, greats that are here in the script, but they're reflection points for you to reflect back to the customer some emotion that matches his, or if you're pacing and looking to elevate him a bit, you use that to elevate his state. Everyone follow that concept? You elevate their state by your tonality, right? So these transition words you're mirroring back to the guy, they're there for a reason. So he says it sucks. Oh man, my finances are suck. Okay, great then, perfect now. Great guy for credit repair, okay? If he says so-so, I'm doing okay. Okay, great, I'm glad you're not broke. No, you're not gonna say it either, right? You're gonna come back with sort of a so-so, okay, but a little bit above. Like, things could always be worse. So what are you trying to say? What are you trying to say there?
Just like you.
I care. In other words, if someone says to you things are not really good right now, okay? Now there's a sort of like the really fine line. What you don't want to do is say, listen, don't worry, I have the solution for you. Everything's going to be great. You don't want to do that. You want to keep him in this state, not to hurt him, but he needs to feel a little bit of pain right now to really open up to the benefits of what you have. You're doing him a disservice if you remove all the pain right away. And don't take that as the wrong way. You don't want to put people in pain. The problem is if you take him out of pain too quickly, he won't close. And they'll still be in pain an hour later and you've done the guy a disservice. So he has to feel some pain for you to do the right thing by him. It's tough love, okay? So you're not going to solve his problem while you're qualifying him. Get it? Fight the urge, okay? So the guy says to me, man, it's not good, I'm behind in my bills, about to get foreclosed on. Okay, great. I'm in loan mods. No, that's that, right? You'll say, oh man, that's just awful. Well, that kind of sounds a little bit disingenuous. So what you want to do is say, I totally understand. That's exactly why I called you. Tonality, I totally understand. That's exactly, not I totally understand, I totally understand, that's exactly why I called you. It's exactly why I called you. Isn't this great? We made a match. That doesn't sound like you care. That sounds like you want money. I totally understand, that's exactly why I called you. How does that sound? I care. If the guy says things are going, well, things are going so-so right now, okay? Okay, good. Doing better than a lot of people. Move on. One possibility. Okay, good. Okay, good. Good to know. Good. Great. Little upbeat, not too much, a little bit above him, not too much. Say to the guy, how are things financially? Oh, doing great. Awesome. Perfect. Great. Next. You match the guy, boom, on. You alter your response to match his response. Qualifying does not occur in a vacuum. There's this zone here, right? It's like this little zone of tonality and rhythm and tempo, right? And the kill zone, like right here. That's your appropriate response, right? You're like, how do I remember all this? When you're unconsciously competent at something, you do this automatically. What you need to, we spoke about, you weren't here, so we spoke about the different levels of learning, right? When you leave this room this afternoon, you're going to be consciously competent at using the straight line, which means you'll understand it. If you're focused on it, have it written down, you'll be able to do it, but you can't listen to anything else. I could do this while I'm tying my shoes, drinking coffee, right? I'm doing my whole life, right? You get there 2 or 3 weeks, just by repetition and learning, and just nail the grooves deeper and deeper into your brain by doing it. There's no way, you can't study it to perfect it. You got to do it. Once you do it, you're going to fall into this little kill zone right now, and automatically, when he says a question, you're going to mirror back the right tonality. I'm giving you the info. I'm giving you the info right now for your conscious mind. All right? It's up to you to keep doing it until it becomes part of your unconscious mind. Then you'll do it automatically. Those are your 3 responses for every question. So now let's keep going. Next question. How much money are you thinking about starting trading with? Okay. Let's try that one.
Jordan, how much money are you thinking about starting trading with? Just a ballpark figure.
Okay, good. I want you to remember every time you're asking someone about money, always go into your disarming tone. Always disarm, okay? So just try to kick it up a notch. Sometimes, So it seems like I'm exaggerating this stuff, and it seems silly and foolish, right? Exaggerate it a bit. But right now, exaggerate it right now in the room, and then back off and find your center afterwards. I don't want you to try to creep up to the right tonality. Let's overshoot your tonality for this. So I say, watch what I mean by that. I say, you know, how much money are you thinking about starting out with? Just a ballpark. Just a ballpark. Just a ballpark. Try that. Just a ballpark.
Just a ballpark.
Much better. Listen, is he going to buy because he says just a... No. Okay? But we're going to use the same tonality about 20 more times when he's closing. Because when you start asking people to make decisions, it's the disarming tone that you use. Just a ballpark. No big deal. Okay? Getting started is simple. Question of your names and basic information, and believe me, if you do even half as good as the rest of the people in this program, you're going to be very, very impressed. Sound fair enough? That's a tonal closing pattern, okay, which goes down to a very, very impressed. Sound fair enough? Reasonable man. Just two reasonable guys. All these tonalities are going to flow through to the script, okay? Let's go to the next one here. Okay, and this is the utter one, the most invasive question of all, is how much are you liquid for right now? And are you looking for that right now? Okay, great. Here, this is specific. Okay, now this is specific to the trading industry. So it might apply to your industry, it might not. But what this is really saying is not can you get your hands on the money, but you know, people say, yeah, I got $20,000, and then they're going to go borrow from their grandma. Okay, I don't know if that applies to your industry, but if it does, see, and here's the point. What I want you to learn from this is when you go back to your job and you're selling or you're managing other people, think through. You go find out what your outcome is before you start writing your qualifying questions. In other words, you got to understand what exactly you're looking to accomplish when you're qualifying. Besides all the rapport stuff, I'm talking what you need, the info you need to know, right? In this particular industry, what they were finding is that people would say, oh yeah, I got money. And they'd say, okay, I got to go now find them. I got to borrow the money from my mom all the time. Like, I got to go raise it. I got to find it. That's what was going on. So you added a qualifying question on to the end. Let's just say you're in a specific situation, okay, when it's one of those things where 90% of the time, okay, they have to make the decision with their wife. I would qualify that out in the beginning if it was that sort of decision. Do you need to have someone, do you make this decision alone, or is there somebody else you need to make the decision with? If that's when you don't live in a vacuum. Find out what your core objections are and start qualifying out for them to save your salesman time, to save yourself time. Balance that, though, with not over-qualifying so you're only looking for the perfect cherry pick. There's a zone in there that you have to be comfortable in. But if there's something that's really killing you every single sales, it always comes down to the same thing, okay, you try to qualify out for it. That's why we added in another question. You know, are you currently liquid for the money? You got to raise it. Okay? So, let me hear that one. Let's find that.
Are you liquid for it right now, or do you have to raise the money?
Okay. Well, do you have to raise the money?
Yeah.
I'm on to your game. That's not quite the right tonality. But a good shot, though. So what is the right tonality? You know? Let's go through the right tonality. Would be more like, you look for that right now, or do you have to raise the money? No big deal. You have to raise it. Just want to know. I'm interested now, tell me. You have to raise it. You know, because I can help you. Like, that's the tone. Like, you know, you have to raise it. Like, some of my clients do. Just be honest with me. Let's get on the same page, pal, you know? Casualness. We buy, all things being equal, we would buy from friends and family, right? So be perceived as a friend. Who cares? Try it again.
Are you currently liquid for that right now, or do you have to raise the money?
1,000 times better. Apples and oranges. Give them a round of applause. It was great. Okay? And I say, oh, no, I have the money right now. Okay, and here's the transition. Well, great. Let me say this. Based on everything you've just told me, the Forex program is definitely a perfect fit for you. Now, real quick, boom, in the body of your script. Get that? It's a very simple transition. Based on everything you just told me, it seems like a perfect fit for you. Not, Well, based on everything you just told me, it seems like a perfect fit for you. Okay? That's not right. Let's hear that. Based on everything you just told me, it seems like a perfect fit for you. Let's hear it.
Based on everything you just told me, it sounds like the perfect fit for you.
Okay? Okay, now, here's the thing. That was a little bit too sing-songy, okay? Here's a point where you need to have a declarative, okay? When we talk about a question, when you ask a question, right? He said that, I'm like, oh, really? That's my dialogue off of what you just said. He goes, it seems like a perfect fit for you. I'm like, oh, really? What makes you so fucking smart? People, you don't think people are, oh, what makes you so smart? You don't think people are, people narrate every word you say, people are narrating against you in their mind, okay? Your tonality was weak. It was not the tonality of the expert, okay? Here's the tonality of it. Well, let me say this. Based on everything you just told me, this is a perfect fit for you. Different, right? Who would you trust? This seems like a perfect fit for you. Not a perfect fit for you? Oh, really? Or it's a perfect fit for you. Oh, really? That's my response. Oh, really? Wow. Seems pretty confident. It's a figure of authority. You get it? I'm not like, it seems like a perfect fit for you. It seems like a perfect fit for you. Perfect with P. P. That's your power there. It seems like a perfect fit for you. Now, real quick. And when I say now real quick, I'm like, now real quick. Or now real quick, which is better? Say now real quick.
Now real quick.
No, say it like you're going to pitch me. Great, now real quick.
Great, now real quick.
Okay, great. Now real quick. Okay, good. Say it from the top. Okay, great. Well, let me say this. Right here.
Oh, you want me to do this?
Yeah, okay, great.
Okay, great. Well, let me say this. Based on everything that you just said, the Forex program is definitely a perfect fit for you. Now, real quick.
Bingo. Perfect, declarative, and power, confident authority figure. Okay? So you notice the transition. 1 second, you're meek and just for suitability purposes, I totally understand. Next second, based on everything you just told me, it's a perfect boom. You go back and forth from being the authority figure to being empathetic whenever it suits you and suits the sale and gets you to move down the line. And each moment, remember, know your outcome. What's your outcome? Your outcome here for this transition is for you to transform yourself in that moment into the expert. That's your outcome of that question, of that statement. Okay? Not just that based on everything you said, it sounds like a perfect fit for you. That's, whatever. You did 20% of the job. Okay? It's based on everything you just said, it seems like a perfect fit for you. Now, real quick. And when I say now real quick, I speak quickly. Why? Because it's congruent with the word. I wouldn't say, now, real quick. Okay, now, real quick. Bam. Why am I saying now real quick? Why? What does that really mean? What's that? Now I'm going to tell you about my program. Okay, anyone else? Bingo. Important. Now let's talk about this. Like, every word matters. Why is that in there? Now real quick. I could say now real slowly. Now let me take this slowly. I could have wrote that. I didn't. There's a reason why. I say now real quick. Okay, number one, he brought it up. Time is money, right? Whose time? His and damn straight. I'm a top producer. I'm going to talk about the lady of the car, the savage car saleswoman from BMW. This woman, when I walk in there, her time is money. She's going to sell me a car, make me feel great for 4 minutes, and I'm out the door with a car. If she said, oh, sit down, honey, have a coffee with me. I'm like, well, Nate is not selling too many cars these days now, is she? She's probably real desperate to sell me one. Okay, now you don't say all that, but it's a building block. That like little bit, now real quick, okay, and what it's also saying is that it's not going to take me very long to show you the benefits here. This is a very simple process. Now real quick, let me tell you how great the program is. Not like now real slow. Now get out your pen and paper for some massive calculation to see the benefits. This is so freaking obvious. Now real quick, let me just tell you why this is so amazing. Now, you didn't say now, real quick, let me tell you why this is the best program on planet Earth. You're not saying that. Say, now real quick, boom, and you're in, and you're into the body of your script. Okay? If you've done this right now, so here's, now look at the transition. Remember I said, in the first 4 seconds, you establish what? Sharp as a tack, enthusiastic as hell, and a 4-3 recommend. That's the first 4 seconds. Then I said, there's other points now that come after. What were they? Likability, that you care, you're just like them, right? Trustworthy, and we're not even into the presentation yet. That's qualifying. That's the straight line. Before you even say the first word about your script, you're already in, you got half the job done. And from this point forward, it only gets better. In other words, if you think that was like, oh my God, forget that. The tonality goes 1,000-fold more important now. Now in the script, and not so much, by the way, in the script, that's somewhat in the script, but when you start to go into the actual, when the sales, when he says no, the sale starts, right? That's when the sale starts. When he says no, at that point, your tonality is everything. What you've done is laid the foundation, and you've done what more than anything? You have not, what? Blown it. You haven't blown it. Okay? You've laid the foundation for a great presentation. You're in rapport with the person. You know all the intelligence about them. So on the back end of the sale now, when you get to this point in the straight line here, and you're looping and picking the lock, all that stuff that came out in the beginning, your own business, you go back to your business, you have all the questions I'm going to give you, the big picture questions, more specific questions. You have all the intelligence you need to create the logical case, the emotional case, you know what his wants are, so you can pick the lock, 3 turns to the right, 2 turns left, and you keep looping and looping until the safe opens and he buys. That's what's just happened here. Don't ever, ever, ever rush past the qualifying section of the script. That's the key. If you qualify correctly and create the right image about yourself, closing gets much easier. So now it's time to master the art of reading from a script without sounding like you're reading from a script. If you sound like you're reading from a script, you're done. So you have to master this art, which is about tonality and pacing. So you sound natural while you're getting across some very powerful unconscious triggers for your prospect to give you the information that you need and to maintain that tight lock on rapport so he knows that you care and he knows that you share commonalities. Remember that, we don't join clubs, we don't become members of institutions that people are different from us in. We always gravitate towards people who are just like us. When your client feels that, not up here, but here, you have a very, very easy time of influencing him or her. Important here on the action side of the equation is that in order to get to that point where you don't sound like you're reading from a script, guess what it takes more than anything? It's practice. And they say repetition's the mother of all learning, mother of skill. It's true. And there's, some amount of time you have to dedicate with this to really getting to the point where you sound good. And I just say, you sound good. You sound natural. You sound effective. Not like a salesperson. The last thing you want to sound as some guy who's selling Ginsu knives on TV, right? That's a different thing here. That's not what we're learning. We're learning elegance. We're learning class. We're learning how to influence and persuade without being some hard-selling influencer. And some of you might be, hard-selling types, and that's cool too. There's nothing wrong with that. But remember, you want to balance the hard-selling out with integrity and making sure that you're selling something that they really need, not just for your own purposes to make a commission. And, I say that from experience because, I have used the straight line. Listen, it's so powerful and so effective that you can get people to buy things they shouldn't buy and to make decisions they shouldn't make. And if you use it for that, shame on you. You're taking something that's wonderful and beautiful and corrupting it. I made that mistake once in my life, and I promised myself that I would never make it again. So I want you to focus now. I want you to take 2 specific actions right now. One of them should be simply looking in the mirror and reading the script so it sounds natural. And the second is tomorrow when you go to your work or to your job, whatever it might be, I want you to use what you just learned at least twice. Not once, but twice. And I want you to make sure that you focus on the specific tonalities to move the sale forward along the straight line, to move the influence along the straight line, to move the negotiation along the straight line. Remember, on some level, everything in life is a negotiation. We all have different wants, we have different desires, but underneath that, we all share the same needs. So the idea is to figure out how someone really interprets those needs. How do they meet those needs? And you fill those needs. elegantly and with class. And by the way, remember to write down your specific questions, the ones that are tailored precisely, specifically to your industry. Because ultimately, if you ask people the right questions, you get the right responses back, the intelligence that you need, and it makes it much, much easier to close on the back end. See you soon.